Hello everybody, this is Andre Bastos and I would like to welcome you to our WebEx. Today we're gonna be talking about the detention systems using InduSoft Web Studio. So first of all, I really appreciate you guys taking your time to attend to this presentation. I'm sure I'm gonna show very interesting things and I'm very happy to have here as a guest Mr. Paul Miracle from Sierra Detention Systems. He's a control engineer. He is been using InduSoft products on his detention systems for quite some time now, and I'm pretty sure that he will be able to share his experience and the things that he has already accomplished during this more than 6 years, I think, that Sierra has been using, or even more than that, InduSoft products when implementing access control on detention systems. So our presentation here, we're gonna be displaying, we're gonna be talking about the company itself, the company InduSoft, some of the advantages of using the InduSoft product, and then we're gonna go to the real world solutions where people are actually using our stuff. And for that part, that's when our guest here, Mr. Paul Miracle, is gonna come and help us showing how he's doing that. He has a very good presentation, and I'll be happy to share this with you guys. Okay, at any time, if you guys have questions at the very end, we're gonna have a Q&A part. If you have technical issues, if the audio disappears, just give it a couple of seconds, it may come back. By experience, we know that depending on the internet connection, sometimes the audio may go back and forth. Okay, and at the end, we're gonna do a Q&A session with all the questions that you may have. And if you don't have any questions, we're gonna try to think about some that may come. Okay, all right. So a little bit about the company InduSoft. We've been established in 1997. We've been always working on the top of the technology. So we were the very first ones to introduce a complete package that would run on any Microsoft operating system. Back then, what did we have? We had Windows NT, we had Windows 95, was the first generation of 32-bit operating systems, and that's when Microsoft introduced Windows CE. And back on Windows CE 1 and then Windows CE 2.1, InduSoft was already running in all those devices. And right after that, we developed a complete web solution for HMI SCADA package, and then include also for Windows CE. So any embedded operating system or any desktop operating system, you could use our web solutions. And we do hold a patent on database connectivity from any operating system. So if you have a small Windows CE based panel and you wanna, send events from that into a central SQL Server, Oracle database, stuff like that, we do hold a patent that allowed you to do that. Okay, we are showing here on this PowerPoint some of the certifications that we hold. We are at ISO 9001 certified company. We've been yearly renewing this. We've been Microsoft partner, forever gold partner for several years now, and we are OPC Foundation members since 1998. So we do hold the seal that we self-test. We are at every single OPC interoperability event here in the United States and in Europe. So we are always having our OPC tested. And some of the awards that we've been gaining throughout the years. Recently, we got also Frost Sullivan 2011, and I Control Engineering 2011 and 2012 as well, Engineer's Choice Awards. So that shows how solid the company is. If you think from 1997 to now, we came a long way, and it's good that we create this relationship and partnerships with system integrators, like in this case Sierra Detention. They see the value of being partners and be associated with a company like InduSoft when you see all those awards and all those certifications. Okay, so I'm gonna present here some of the advantages of the InduSoft solution, and I'm gonna try to focus this more on what could be used on systems that are related to access control. Okay, so first we do have native drivers, and that includes also native driver for Omron PLC. For any type of Omron PLC, we have some native drivers and some specific drivers that we wrote using Omron APIs. If you're familiar with the Things Gateway, we have a driver that interacts with the Things Gateway, and even with the latest Sysmac Gateway through Ethernet IP and all the Things protocols that are out there. Okay, so we besides the communication drivers, we also have all the different flavors of OPC communication. So all the way from OPC Classic, formerly called OPC DA, to OPC UA, even the OPC.NET, and the OPC UA. We even have that for embedded systems as well. Okay, and a little bit about the graphical visualization, and when you talk about here on this slide, when we talk about the biometry, we do hold interfaces where we can control the access, reading the biometrics from a user. Let's say you connect a USB reader for biometrics. We do have applications using that technology. And for the graphic visualization, you develop the application, you can run on several different versions of Windows, including mobile devices that nowadays, walking around a facility with a tablet and then controlling from the tablet is a reality already, and we offer you the tools to do that. And the possibility of having a main server application, several thin clients connected to that server, so you maintain only a main project, and the repetition of linked symbols. When we talk about linked symbols, when you talk about, let's say, a facility and you have several doors, we're talking about what, 300 doors, for example, and then you're going to modify the specific icon. Well, using linked symbols, you just modify it once, and that modification will be applied to all the 300 doors that you use on your project. Okay, and of course, we have the possibility of showing live video streaming depending on the camera that you are using and the resource available on those security cameras. Every feature that is available there, we can interact with those cameras as well. We have built-in alarm management system. We don't need to install any add-on, like some other packages on InduSoft Web Studio. It comes with the product, the alarm management system. You can record your alarms on any database. You can record it on SQL. You can record on Oracle. Everything is part of the package. The interface with any database is embedded on the package. We have built-in report generator and a built-in security system. And it's important to mention that the security system supports just a built-in security system on the product itself, or the concept of distributed. So you may have a server application being the central security system, and you have other projects that you could connect as distributed client security system. Okay, but the most important that I see being widely used on that area is the possibility of interacting with a domain server through LDAP. Okay, so we do have interaction with domain servers through LDAP built-in on the product, and I'll be more than happy to show how we do that. Okay, so what is InduSoft? It's a very intuitive, we've been out there for a while, always evolving the product. On this screenshot here, you can see that our interface right here, the menus on the interface, they look like the Microsoft Office ribbon interface. So we try to take into consideration the user experience. So if you're used to do Control-C, Control-V, why would we create different shortcuts to do that, right? So if you're used to menus, we had menus, but nowadays all Microsoft products, they have the ribbon interface. All right, so we have the ribbon interface as well. Now we're gonna keep evolving the product as we have always done up to this day, and it runs on any current Microsoft operating system, and that even includes Windows 8 and Windows Server 2012. I'm gonna in a few minutes even show us running on a machine that I have here with Windows 8 and multi-touch and all this nice features that we have there. So it's really nice that you can have one product that you can develop on any desktop operating system and run on any Microsoft version that is out there. So you can deploy your project to run on Windows Server 2012, Windows 8, Windows XP. Even our latest version still runs on Windows XP, and of course Windows 7, that's the most widely used. And what that gives us is these important things: the hardware manufacturer independency. You can choose any hardware of your choice. You can switch hardwares if desired. You don't need to re-engineer your project. Even if you want to go into, let's say, Windows Embedded Standard into Windows Embedded Compact, you don't need to modify your project for doing that. You can use the same InduSoft project that you have already developed. Okay? And since the inception, we've been always very conservative on what we call the investment protection. So if you develop a project using InduSoft version 2.4, for instance, and then now you want to reuse that project in our latest version, version 7.1, you can reuse the same project. Okay, so you see here on this screenshot, we were running this application here on the Cassiopeia. That's the same application that we are running here now on Windows 7 and even now on Windows 8 using the version 7.1 that is coming out in just the Service Pack 1 coming out in a couple of weeks. All right, and what I believe is really useful for most of access control is how you're gonna record what's happening, like events and all type of alarms. So what I mentioned earlier, we do hold a patent on database connectivity, and that means we can use ADO connections to any database. Mostly I see people using SQL Server, was 2008, now SQL Server 2012 is starting to be used even over the cloud. We've been deploying a lot of applications that they save their information on SQL Server that's on the cloud without any issues with that. And if instead you want to use Oracle, we just need the connector for Oracle and everything's going to work there as well as of course MySQL and even a couple of projects with Sybase and any other relational database that is right there. It's interesting to know that we do have built-in redundancy on the product that can be either a full redundancy, so we're going to be always saving on both databases and making sure that we keep them synchronized, or the store and forward, where we save on a primary database. If it goes down, then we save only the changes on the secondary. When the primary goes down, we synchronize it and then keep saving only on the primary database. Okay, and for the database, we do store all the alarms, all the event history. If you're saving any trending information, for instance, when a door is open and closed, we want to have a chart on it, any process data, dashboard information, we can hold all that on any relational database and retrieve this information. And that can be, when you use on this architecture, that can be on a server application running locally or on a cloud. So it would be a cloud-based project. And once you have a main project, a main server application, let's say on the main control room, you have several options of clients for that server. So that goes for having, if I go from the top to the bottom, I can have WebThing clients that would use, for instance, Microsoft Internet Explorer, or secure viewers that will be visualization station, or our patent mobile access that you can run on any mobile operating system. That will be Androids, that will be iPhones, or any iOS device. And you can connect those clients to either the cloud or an InduSoft server application, or it can also be a local HMI running locally, like a touch screen panel, something like that, or a control room, or even some embedded headless devices with usually Windows CE on them. They're gonna be running. They're gonna be some of those they have built-in PLC capabilities. So we're gonna be talking to all these devices, and you can have all these options of remote visualization and remote control, all built in on the product. Okay, these connections, you have one of these connections with each license that you buy. You can only add a simultaneous connection as needed for your project. And so any running project, doesn't matter if I'm running on a headless mobile device, if I'm running on an embedded device, on a touchscreen panel, or on a full-blown server, they can all be servers to any kind of remote clients. Okay, so before I go on the real world solutions, I want to give you guys a quick sneak peek here. You're seeing a remote machine. I'm using this utility called TeamViewer, and on this remote machine I do have Windows 8, as you guys can see here. Okay, I'm just moving around my Windows 8 application, and then I'm gonna run my InduSoft application here and show some of the dual touch features that I think could be used. Here you can see that if I click on the enabler button like this, then I can turn on and off the buttons that I have here on the left. If I don't click on the enabler, I cannot do that. So I need to use both hands to execute this, and it looks like it's becoming a common requirement on the detention market to be able to have dual finger or dual hand commands as well. Besides this feature, we are also implemented object gestures like zooming in and out on the object, or zooming in and out on the screen. So imagine that you have your facility, and you zoom in there, and then you can pan to the top of one specific screen, or a specific area on the building, and then you can zoom back in. Okay, and all the commands, they still work. You zoom in, the commands are there. You can see my button going on and off, and then I zoom out here. Okay, so we have sliders. For instance, I brought up here my alarm banner. On the alarms, you can now pan inside the alarm, so you can scroll inside the alarm object using if you use 2 fingers, and even if you have a trend object, you can now pan inside the trend object and even do some zooming on it. Okay, so this is brand new. This is coming on the next couple of weeks, but I believe that on the detention market, one thing that's going to be readily used is going to be this, that you need to use 2 hands or 2 fingers to execute a command, and maybe even zooming in, or in this case, for instance, I have a selector that I'm rotating here, so I could be selecting cameras, for example, or a specific door. So all this is part of InduSoft Web Studio, and this I'm doing to show that we keep evolving the product, and we keep evolving our solutions for all the current needs. The feature is just coming out. We already have a solution for this need on the market. Okay, so some real world solutions here. We have on the Eaton County one case study that you can download on our website. You can see here some of the screenshots on that project and on that facility. You can see here on the right some of the icons. That's what I mentioned earlier when I talked about linked symbol. You see how repetitive those icons are here for the keys and for the cameras. The nice thing about the feature that we had, the linked symbol, is that if you need to modify it, you can modify only once, and the modification will be deployed throughout your entire project. Okay, and the other project that I'm gonna talk about here. So if you want to see this case study here, go to our website under case studies, and then you're gonna see there the link to the juvenile facility, and you can download it. You can see it, or you can download the PDF file. You have the icon here on the right side, so you can see that case study. Okay, and one of my all-time favorites here, the Sierra Detention systems. They use us in several different projects. I'm gonna let, of course, Mr. Paul Miracle elaborate more about that as well. But you can see some very elaborated screens on this screenshot here, and some, based off, real world use of that. If you wanna download the case study from Sierra, still same thing. You go to our website, case studies, and you're gonna find the Sierra Detention Systems link there. You can go to the page, read that case study, and also download the PDF if you wanna keep it. Okay, so I'm gonna pass now to our very special guest, Mr. Paul Miracle, who will present his solution now. And all right, Mr. Paul, we can see your desktop.
Hello, everyone. Andre, can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can.
Perfect. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for showing up here. Also, thanks to InduSoft for contacting us and giving us this opportunity to speak with you guys and kind of show you guys how we use InduSoft specifically more with access control, user rights, and levels. And I'll go ahead and get started here. So here we got, I'm just going to go over kind of who we are here, Detention Systems, and later on we'll bring up the InduSoft Web Studio development and show you kind of what we use it for and how we use it. As you can see here at Sierra Detention Systems, we're a detention equipment and security electronics contractor for correctional facilities. That means we provide the products that differentiate commercial buildings from buildings that house prisoners. These are things like detention-grade doors, locks, furniture, high-level CCTV cameras, card access, control access, touchscreen controls, and the like. We also have two sister companies that provide maintenance and consulting services, those being Sierra Systems Integration and Sierra Detention Group. To provide a little bit of background, Sierra was founded in 1995 in Colorado and has grown from providing detention equipment only to security electronics, custom metal products, building automation, fire alarm, etc. We are a national company and recognized as UL Panel Shop and a clean manufacturer. We used to be able to joke when we showed our photos that we hope it was the first time you ever seen the interior of a jail, but with so many corrections related shows, we doubt that that's the case any longer. This photo is from a facility we built in Aurora, Colorado. That is a great representation of what detention equipment is. These items follow detention hollow metal doors and frames, detention furniture, prefabricated cells, wire mesh and grating, specialty locks, glass and glazing, and one thing we've started to get into is the perimeter security fencing, and that is low voltage perimeter systems, shaker fences, and so on. Our security electronic scope is where we, Sierra, typically earn the majority of our revenue, and is most visible way in which we use InduSoft. Each of the systems listed here are integrated using InduSoft, who is our favorite software development package because of the flexibility, ease of use in the development environment, and its reliability. Today, of course, we're sharing some of the work we've done with the various security features over access controls in InduSoft. So, the detention industry considerations here. First off, we want to think about physical security, not only for the general public and the facility staff, but inmates as well. System stability, redundancy, failover, typically some of the considerations we look at, spec-driven or design-build-driven, and so on. Each HMI that we develop using InduSoft is of standalone operation, although we have used Webfin Client, and with a lot of integrations using tablets and PDAs, we're seeing more of the Webfin Client being used. So system activity mainly is user-driven. It's not automated process-driven, meaning there's an emphasis on the human part of HMI, which stands for Human-Machine Interface. Some of the HMI computer security that we typically use are the physical aspects. We secure our HMIs in locked cabinets, typically back in the server room or under the desks where the operators actually sit. The keyboard and mouse sometimes are removed from the touchscreen-based systems. This is due to the fact that they're not used for any type of weapon paraphernalia, I guess. Auto-run features of the operating system are also disabled, and we'll kind of get into that in the development package, and I'll show you what we can disable and enable and so on. So some of the security features we really like that InduSoft provides is they allow us to use their startup shortcut, which typically will stick into the startup script of the actual PC. This is easy for the user, so we'll develop InduSoft application and ship it out to the job site. And the only thing that our field techs have to do when they're first initializing the whole system is just hit the power button, which makes it really handy. And that InduSoft runtime will automatically start up there. Some of the other system features InduSoft provides is the close the project is disabled depending on how you set the user levels. The task switch, also known as the Alt pad, is disabled, as well as the task manager. The security system is used to prevent engineering access by application users, meaning standard officers working the facility or even admin users from getting out of the actual runtime of the InduSoft application, and that's the only thing they're allowed to access. A couple other features we really like and use a lot are the auto log off capability. These are features for if, let's say, we have an engineering guy coming down to a site and to make a few changes here, we can set an auto log off timer for about 30 minutes or so, and once we're done, or even if we're not finished yet, it'll automatically log us off, and we are logged off back to the welcome screen, meaning the user's got to log back in, a standard user operator supervisor. Some of the user configurations that we got is we have consider different group accounts. One of the ones that we start off with is the default user, which is the guest account. This user is not allowed to get out of the project. They're typically just starting the project. Any time that a guest user is recognized during runtime, we're going to log off and go back to the welcome screen, meaning that the default user guest will have no access to any portion of the facility, and so on. Here's a couple of examples of users that we create. As you can see here, back to the default user, we can set the different security levels here, 0 to 10, and we'll get into that a little bit later when I get into the development of what we use that actual security level for. Back to a couple of users that we use, you can see here that our standard operator is basically only allowed to start the project, and we've given them a security high level here of 25. Next higher group would be a supervisor, for example, with the level high of 50. And as you can see here, we've checked marked the box during runtime that the edit security system checkbox is enabled, meaning they can add specific users to the application. And then, of course, our engineering account, we've got the highest level, 255 is the highest group high level you can have. And we've got every engineering access as well as runtime access. Here you can see we were allowed to close the project, task switch enabled, enabled security system, and the Windows Task Manager. Now a lot of these, let's say supervisor, when we're adding users, typically we'll have about 4 or 5 standard accounts. These are not usernames or passwords, these are strictly accounts where you can assign those usernames to. We would select the runtime group, and you would be able to see those levels that you can access users to. Here's the auto log off feature that we use so frequently here, and that's the after 30 minutes, it's going to automatically log us off no matter where we are in the development and take us back to the welcome screen where a user can log on. Some more HMI computer security. InduSoft startup screen prevents access to the system without a valid login. That also goes back to our previous slides with the user access levels. Once logged in, navigation is restricted based on HMI stationary user. We'll use this a lot for an area of the facility. We'll have a little map down in our alarm queue that if you're not, let's say, an admin level user, you don't have access to that certain screen. Device icon commands, we'll get in there a little bit, are disabled by default and must be entered by the PLC, enabled by the PLC in order to for them to operate, such as doors, intercoms, emergency release, perhaps, and so on. Some functions have additional restrictions. Like I said before, you've got your group release, emergency release, also some interlocks and exterior doors here. And one feature we use a lot are we're sitting in a central control, for example, local HMIs, meaning the HMIs or control stations in the local housing units that house the inmates. We can disable those remotely in case of a security breach. Some of the symbol level security I was talking about before is obviously the position property. As you can see here, we'll show icons dependent on the position, if it's true or not. The command disable field, which is down here in the command box. So if I have access, I'll be able to call this global procedure. If I don't, then, well, I can't. And the user and group level checks. This again is the access account. For this example here, we've got a group name of testing. If I'm not in this group, I'm not going to be able to open the screen here. Typically what we'll do in our door control architecture is we've used a lot of tags to individually put into our link symbols, although we've came a long way and started using class-based tags. Again, this is very easy for adding one position property to various and multiple classes within the actual InduSoft environment used by the symbols here. Our doors have identical capabilities, individual door functionality based on the parameters assigned to the class members, and it also provides flexibility to modify functionality without modifying actual code. As you can see here, we've got a CP door class, and in this class we have multiple members. Here's just a couple, for example, our bull breach or bull DVS. As you can see here, this is our tag database, our main tag database, where we'll set one tag with an array of 425 doors per se, and assign these tags to this class, the P door class. We also use the database backend, SQL database. We use this for loading and storing device parameters, such as, let's say, our maintenance name, our owner name, and this flexibility of the SQL database, we can change those names and so on the fly. So that's really handy. And let's say we've got a maintenance guy who comes in and wants to view just the maintenance name and not necessarily the owner name, because that's not what matches on the SEC drawings. That's why we store that data into the SQL database. Also, the retentive tags also allow for offline operations, such as storing that data in that class member, depending on if we start or stop. We don't have to go back in there and automatically reload that database if we have to. And as you can see here, that's easily done here in the database folder here, connections and database. This is just an example of the database connection stream. We'll go in here and select what type of database connection we're using, username and password, and that will access that database. Some of the more door control architecture here is the communication. Obviously, we use Omron, GE, Modicon, etc. For our communication with InduSoft. PLC communication is accomplished primarily standard drivers in the standard driver sheets. This allows enabling and disabling of these individual driver sheets to obviously optimize efficiency, meaning that if I have 50 driver sheets here with, let's say, 3 or 4 PLCs, I've got one station that only really talks to one PLC. I can turn on and off that driver so I'm not constantly running that driver and bogging down the network. Some of the scripting, we use a lot of global procedures, and this really centralizes our code, meaning that we're not going around and looking at various scripts, although that it can be used, and schedulers and so on. We use a lot of VB script within the global procedures, and it really enhances the built-in functionality of our applications. Some of the graphics are the symbols. We can either use the symbols provided by InduSoft in their library, or we typically will create our own symbols, import those into the InduSoft environment, and create our link symbols. And I'll show you guys a couple of examples of that here in just a moment. The symbols primarily indicate device statuses, doors, intercoms, CCTV, so on. So that kind of wraps up the slide here. I'm going to go ahead and open up our InduSoft environment. And what we have here is just a small little demo that we use on our tablet machine that would typically be a web-based client connecting to a local server, maybe a local housing unit or something. As you can see here, I'm logged in. This would be considered a welcome screen for us. And as you can see here, well, maybe you can't see, but I'm clicking on my Alt tab and Windows key, and I cannot access my desktop here. I'm logged in. I'm sorry, not logged in, but I've started the application, and without the user rights, default user guest, I'm unable to get into the background here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here, first with an engineering access. So right now you can see that my group engineering, with the highest level provided 255, And as you can see, I can get out and use my alt tab functions if necessary. We'll get into the development here. So, couple of uses here as far as access control or security access is our door functions here. I'm going to go ahead and make myself an operator user. Typically, our operator's group level is our lowest priority user here. So, as you can see, I no longer have the maintenance names as I did see when I was in development here. And it gets rid of some of the main security features that we provide within, let's say, a housing unit here, such as our emergency relief. Now, if I were an admin user with a group high level of 150, obviously greater than an operator, I'll have access to that emergency relief. With the groups assigned by the PLC that we'll read through the driver sheets here, we can assign groups as far as what we can control. As you can see, these doors here in this certain pod are brighter in color, and I'm able to select the doors here. Now, the ones up here in the darker color are a group that I currently don't have control of, so I can't select the doors. I can only view the status of the DPS, door position switch. So just for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and open it. Disable group 2. And as you can see, I still have the ability to monitor that status, but I do not have the ability to open and close that door. Also, with standard operator users, let's see here if I remember which screen it is. We can, here we go, G&H. So for example, this is in the command of this button here on our alarm cue. I don't have access to that screen because I am a level 25 user, an operator user, and this to gain access to this screen, it's required a level of 250 or higher. Let's go into the development here. Oh, I need to change to my engineering account and kind of show you what we really prefer InduSoft for here. So back to the symbols here. Obviously, we'll go ahead and create screens, which are usually defined and usually the hide if we do not need to look into the screen here. I'm just going to pull up the A pod screen here. And as you can see, these are our link symbols. We'll use the classes. This obviously cuts down the amount of work that we can put forth into this link symbol by using those classes. If we edit a link symbol, I'm just going to go in here and let's say draw or type in an A. Make it a little bigger or at least a different text color. Place that on the icon. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And as you can see, now every icon within that one link symbol has changed now, which makes it really handy. Going back to security here, one good thing here is, as Andre was saying here, we've got access to LDAP, so if we were to get connected to a facility and they have their own username and password database, we could obviously use that LDAP domain and connect to their domain and use automatically load that database into the InduSoft Web Studio environment and use exactly what they have existing. Also, with a large facility, we can create a server, and from there, all of those usernames and passwords will be stored on that server, while the other HMIs are a client, which they'll look at that main server and see if that username and password actually exists. obviously with drivers, depending on which type of communication protocol we actually need, InduSoft provides multiple drivers depending on what type of devices here, which makes it very easy. The list, let's just say I need Siemens, I can just drop that in there, and there it is. If I don't need it, go ahead and remove it. As you can see here, we are using the OMEAT driver that communicates with the Omron, as well as the TXRX, which will use serial commands to send to our closed-circuit television. Our global procedures. One really nice thing that we discovered with 7.0, and maybe it was provided in previous, Andre could probably answer that one for me, is we could actually, instead of putting all of our scripts into the main procedures here, we can actually create new, I guess you would call them different main procedures here, so they're easier to find. So as you can see here, I've got my control transfer logic in one group, and my main procedures, meaning less priority groups, in my main procedures here. Other options we really use, let me go back to the database here, the database connection. And this is where we'll find and set up our SQL database connection here. What we use here, SQL Express typically, and we can find that here in the provider. They provide multiple ways to connect to a database, but our preferred method is SQL Server. You can also set up the timeouts, long timeout, makes it very handy. And then finally, one of the things we really enjoy is the actual use of the alarm enabling and storing. We can select database, event database, and alarm database. Anything in the alarm queue, for example, will have, let's say, a database here down the lower right, logging breaches, open too long, flash ajar doors for a certain amount of time, and so on. Those will automatically get logged to a database where we can pull up something like crystal reports and gather that information for the end user to make it look pretty, as well as event databases. We'll do a lot of event sends for buttons that get pressed, such as emergency release or group release. Anytime an operator will select that button, it will log that event into the database. Here we're just logging the security system. It also, in the event logger here, it will record who's logged off, who's logged on, and what stations. Overall, InduSoft is, like I said, our preferred development package that we use. Again, it's very easy to use, and getting answers to any kind of questions that we have, obviously, is very helpful and doesn't take as long as you would think. And that's about it.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael. It's so nice to see the thing that we devote all of our hours and of our days here being so well used the way you are using it. So thank you very much, Michael, for your time, and presenting all the different ways that you can implement. It was important that you mentioned the LDAP, that if you guys want to do that, and the way you develop your icons. So really interesting. So again, I cannot stress how much helpful, or how much actually grateful I am for you helping us with this. Okay, so if you need To access our documentation, we do have inside the product our help file. If you press F1, we're gonna launch it. And to understand a little bit more about the security system that we have on the product, how it works, you know, if you just go to our help file and type search security system, you're gonna find it. But here you see on the tree view on the contents where to find it. So it's gonna be under project security. And so it shows how our security level works. If you put any object on the screen, you're gonna always find a field with the security level. So on the object or in some specific screens, you may find security level. So you can, when you're configuring the security system, you can configure a range of values for a specific group. So if that command has a security level, and the security level falls within the configure range of the group on the user that is currently logged, that user will be able to execute that command. Otherwise, that command will be blocked for that specific user. Okay. We do have online trainings. All of our the training that we teach here in Austin, you can also access online. So if you go to our website and you go under support, you're gonna see videos and webinars, and that's actually where you're gonna find the recording of this webinar as well. So if you go here on the link videos and webinars, you're gonna see the free online training video. The module 28 is a module that talks about secure, we call secure viewer actually there, but you know, you're gonna help you also configuring the security system as well. Actually, that's the security viewer for, I'm sorry, the remote thin clients. And on the module 35, that's where you're gonna teach you how to configure the actual security system. So you go there, video, and then you go here to the page. Under 35, you're gonna find how to configure the security system on InduSoft Web Studio. Okay. And you know, if you need some specific training, just send us an email here to training@indusoft.com. We can go to your facility and prepare customized training for the features that you want. We know we do have a product with several features that can be applied on detention systems, and we have also being used on automotive and even interesting things like golf courses. So we do have a lot of things. So, but you may want to use only some specific features of the product, and you may want to be training on it. We can prepare a customized training only for your specific needs. Okay, just send us the email, and we can talk about that. And with that, I start our questions and answers. You're gonna see on your WebEx control panel, you have a little field for Q&A. Just type our questions there. And as they come, it's gonna be either me or Mr. Paul Miracle that's going to answer them. Depending on the question, I may read the question and answer it, or I may just type the answer, you know, depending on what the user wants to know. So please feel free to bring your questions now. In the meantime, while you think of the, which type of questions that you may have, let me, you know, bring something up. If I were a user, let me see what type of question I would have in there. For instance, can I use the employee's badge for access control? You know, that's something that could come up. And the answer is, when you have the employee's badge, for instance, you may have a reader for that badge. If the badge has a barcode, you know, you're gonna need a barcode reader. If that badge has a RFID, you're gonna need to have an RFID reader, and somehow that information needs to come to the computer. So I've seen different readers out there. Some of them you plug into your computer's USB board port, and it sends that information as if it is a keyboard. Or some of them they write a text file. Or some other readers, they have a specific ActiveX or something like that, that you can access different information out of that. So if the information can get to the computer, That means that yes, you can use that information on a project. You can even use that information to log on instead of typing a username. You read the badge, and with that information, a user may be asked only to enter a password, for instance, or you can configure a different way to do that. So yes, so you could be using a badge as part of your access control. Okay. So one question that came here, a customer asked, okay, do we have new updates of InduSoft Web Studio coming soon? Actually, yes. We are on the very final stages of validating the Service Spec 1 for version 7.1. And the biggest thing on Service Spec 1 will be the support to multi-touch, as earlier I demonstrated here. Okay, I was demonstrating here a very specific application, our demo application. I do have one computer here with multi-touch, and this is just a test screen. I'm gonna, for instance, rotate this bitmap here. You see, I'm using 2 fingers to do that, or just an object, and we can resize the object if we want, using multi-touch, and then we can zoom in on the screen. For instance, here I'm gonna take this screen and I'm gonna just go and play a little bit, with panning, and that's that's a screen, and then inside the screen I have an alarm. I'm gonna scroll on that alarm and see the messages below, So these are some of the new features that are coming on version 7.1 Service Spec 1, and that should be coming out, and when I say a couple of weeks, I'm talking about 2 weeks, max 3 weeks. We are in the very final stages of fixing the last things to make it really good for you guys to use it. Okay, so I have a question here that would be probably interesting for everybody to know, and that would be, what are the benefits of using indirect tags as properties of a linked symbol? So when you're configuring a linked symbol, you can create the properties on the linked symbol. So if I bring here my InduSoft Web Studio, and then let's say I'm creating a screen here, and I'm gonna insert a symbol on it. So I go right click, and then I'm gonna insert a linked symbol. Let me see which one I may have here. So for instance, I may have indicator. So I have an indicator here, and this symbol here, if I destroy it, I can open and see how we created that specific symbol. Let me ungroup it. So we can see, so here I have a rectangle. On that rectangle I have a caption. On that caption I have the property name here, label with a default value on it, and right here I have, for example, a caption and also the property name. I say how many decimals I want to see, and a default value on it, or in that case I apply it the property on it. But since on the when you're configuring the linked symbol, you can create the property names and then only assign tags to these property names, most of the time you will not need an indirect tag in here. Okay, but depending on what you're trying to do, you may want to have a symbol that you're gonna enter some information on the symbol, and then you're gonna retrieve the information. For example, you have a symbol where you're gonna enter the door number or the door name or something like that. It may be good that you allow the user to type something and then you get that information, and only after that you display that information. But you want to do that inside a symbol. So that's a case, for instance, where you could be using indirect tags on the as a property value inside the linked symbol. Okay, if I properly understood what you mean with indirect tags and not exactly the property name on it. Okay, So one of the benefits of the linked symbol on this project here that I'm running, for instance, if I call the runtime and then we just bear with me here real quick. And then, for instance, I go here and I'm gonna open my wind energy. So all these guys here, they are linked symbols. So if I go back on my development environment and let me see if I find here the wind. So here's my linked symbol. I can just right click, edit my linked symbol, and change whatever I want. For instance, the customer wants you, instead of using the calibri font regular, you may want to have it as bold. Okay, I apply bold here. So now it is bold. As soon as I save the symbol, that modification is applied also to the screen. So I see here, now everything is bold. All of them. And you know, I just changed it once. So think about, you know, door control. You can have several doors, and it's a good thing that you can change only one and it's going to apply in all of them. Okay, so more questions? I don't know if Paul, you want to mention anything about linked symbol as well while we wait for more questions.
Just the use with linked symbols, like Andre was saying, you know, it's really easy to go in there and make one small modification, which will update on every screen throughout your development, which makes it a heck of a lot easier than going into every individual screen. The use of indirect tags in the link symbols are very nice to actually show, let's say in our example, to say see if an icon is visible or not.
Yep, that's a good example on how to use it. All right. Any other questions? Some things that come to my mind, you know, you guys can type your questions even when I'm talking here, is that some information from the machines, some limitations you may want to do on the machine beside the security system. You may want to use some information like the IP address. Well, but the IP address can change. You may want to use the computer name, or I thought maybe you want to know what's the MAC address of that machine, you know. So InduSoft Web Studio does provide you. I'm gonna call here our help file so you can see some of these functions. So we have here, for instance, get net MAC ID function. So we have a built-in InduSoft Web Studio function called get net MAC ID that retrieves the MAC ID. And if you have multiple cards, you can even pass, you're gonna receive that in an array tag with all the MAC IDs that you may have there. And this function also retrieves you the network adapter name. So that information can be helpful as well. Okay, and or you can get the computer name or the computer IP. Okay, so you execute this function, it retrieves you the specific computer name. So on your thin client, you may want to open a specific screen based on the computer name. So you can write a script that as soon as you open on, for instance, on our graphics scripts, when you start the graphic part, you check if my computer name is this, you open a specific screen. If my the computer name is something else, you're gonna open a different screen. So this is all built in on the product that, you know, can be used on how you're gonna restrict the use of the project on remote thin clients, for example. Okay.
Andre, if you don't mind here, another good feature that you guys also incorporate is checking the actual InduSoft or the InduSoft license code, which is really handy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So We have, for instance, the hard key serial number, hard key model, for example. You know, so a lot of I don't have a hard key connected right now here, so I license with soft key, so this will not return exactly what we want. But yes, your license information can be accessed using our functions as well. That good thing that you brought that up as well. Okay, so even like the OS information to check if it's embedded. So let's say that you want to have the main project running on a server, but your thin clients are gonna be on an embedded system. You know, we can know when you open the screen if you're running that screen on an embedded or on a full desktop system. Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't see any other questions right now. Coming up here, we already mentioned that we can interact with security cameras if needed. We can show the camera image, or we can communicate through TCP/IP to several cameras, and if they bring any information, we can display alarms. We can create a log of events, with information that comes from security cameras as well. All right, so we have passed 1 hour and 6 minutes on the webinar. In that case, since I don't have any specific question right now, I'm gonna show you guys this slide that shows you how to contact us. We have 3 offices that you see the different emails here in the US, Brazil, and Germany. You see also our telephone numbers. All this information is also available on our website, InduSoft.com. Okay, and just write us, bring the questions in. If it's a technical question, we're gonna have someone technical assisting you. If you want to know about our licensing methods, different how many thin clients you may be connecting, just send the email for info@indusoft.com, and we're gonna assist you with all your needs. Okay, so as I was about to go to the thank you, I got a question here real quick. So I have someone here asking if we have a specific course on access control, intrusion detection, CCTV, or things like that. InduSoft, we've been used on about more than 30% of the detention market out there that use touchscreen, use HMIs. So we, in order to support those customers, we have learned a lot. We prepare some specific training modules for detention systems. So basically the most important things: how to create the symbols, how to configure the security system, how to protect the screen access on the different levels using the security system, but also using information from the machine. Even though we don't have a specific course that we can send to the detention people right now, if needed, we can go to our facility and train you only on your specific needs. So on the question here, the customer is also asking about CCTV. So depending on which CCTV you use, we're gonna have different features to use it. Usually we can stream the image on ActiveX control, or you can communicate with the camera as if it is a PLC, or several times they put the cameras communicating directly with the PLC. So depending on your architecture, we can go and show you how you can have a better use of InduSoft. And we do have a lot of know-how on how to use our stuff on detention systems. So, yep, we're partners for a long time with system integrators like Sierra that taught us a lot about how InduSoft can be applied on this market. Okay. All right. I don't see any specific questions here. So, with that, I go to our final thank you here. And after this webinar, you guys are going to receive an email with a survey. We want to know how we did. You know, if you could help us with your honest answers, that would be good. And you're going to be getting a t-shirt from our webinar series if you answer to that survey. And we recorded this webinar. It's going to be available on our website pretty soon. You're going to be since you know you guys registered for the webinar, we're going to let you know when the recording is available. And thank you again, Mr. Paul Miracle, for bringing in so much insights and, you know, such a good example of an InduSoft application on the detention systems. And thank all of you for staying with us for this 1 hour and 10 minutes of webinar. So hope to see you guys soon, either as, you know, as a customer or on the next webinar that we preparing for you guys in a couple of weeks. All right. Okay. Thank you, and I wish you guys a great rest of the week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.